has started now.
One second, I have to plug in my computer. This one right here.
If you need,
I can give you a
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, I got it.
Okay.
Get my flow template out. Okay, I'm ready now. Everyone else is.
give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm doing it.
Anyone not ready? Advantage when attention taxes are rocking PM trash and spend public good on before US and dollars to all violation of rock security as we across the drive to care of open PM violation. US broke PMF is spending economy United Social for that stolen money tax worse than as UPMF and what did APS winning and taxes has by retired taxes against US making some defensive force guards and militia what else enforced for guarantee common withdrawal assaults. One has been US strike against the Iraqi militia after attack. A 71 year old militia and started by the race one of the militia provided a force the last year redeemed after the rock and draw streets. Benefit that way by the rest of the street provide promote water public retreats to the unfair tax and based on the liability for the US and allies for conflict of the evidence to be just read basically the rock liability for running around an easy check which from the assassination of the money around and launches missiles in Iraq to allow the power of whatever departed these days about surrounding what US do what US do in Iraq to little to did our security interests. Leaders don't rely on that behavior to report withdrawal which allies and conflicts will over throughout the region of June 123. Iraqi weapons plan for the militia US right militia the Iraqi forces movie civil security Iraq demanding well leading about to war rather than security media department strike defending our target of American interests hitting target that says the military civil war basically back in the terrorism with confidence waiting to discover for regional gathering involved Iranian global and Iraqi global powers were 20 with wrong words when asked the Russian China from Iran with China depends on Russian solid by time Iran striking the cyber office for terror spread gathering and crossing filtration and blood attacking Israel global nations. He also said cyber in Iran and 40 main hackers starting oil and gas and grid and extinction every 20 attacking Iran and the large war Middle East talking about returning to news Russian China allies over Iran and news by asking becoming aware uninhabitable. Then the result they smoke spread open those and follow public appearance and regional conflict on the form disclosure leads to oil stocks and supply chain disruption. Now in 22 tended the hormones post peace farmhead. Neither way the team is got over the world at least past week tended on surrounding US needs by outside security British Saudi Japan Korea jeopardize trading the enemies of every country and energy attacks from production and supply shocks cause global war March 21 supply chain disruption causing disruption and commodity shortage right aggressive national behavior and international instability disruption skills in business sectors create instability promoting combinations for making shortage and promote instability nation war over resource shortage and security market disposition premise in World War II and go to Oppenheimer 21 pre-conflict Greece war and confident and reduce capacity cover attack changes change use of coalition as like common most human diversity interest dual interest national legal World War III pre-conflict aggression eroding many conflicts create ICS Taiwan where can drive this and plan the United States honest and to reduce the President of the Republic of Iraq and into stability U.S. Iraq relations during crisis sovereignty violation of Iraqi politics and conflict inevitable Patty 24 release of word last 2 relation of prototype dynamics under Trump when U.S. will commander PMF coincided and anniversary of assassination Iraq called it violation of Iraqi sovereignty self-defense called bilateral crisis in Iraq was talking to the anti-president begin bilateral relation between Iraq and U.S. opponents and this as accusations of Iraq were a U.S. airstrike U.S. this person president based on invitation of bill to speak about condemnations of their act and president's unsustainable principally and complicated partnership with the Iraqi army Simon 23 primary weapons trained in device training forces challenges in Iraq principally and company interest rich wrestling and monitoring part of the U.S. war never decrease messaging exaggerates supported for Iraq military and threatening our U.S. not for political legitimacy the host government will force the ability hindered by lack of culture motive and HRB is unable to transfer legitimacy strategy take back to security system non-nation building and non-military relations and enables sovereignty solving terror and corruption Simon 23 stability in Iraq has a stable relation company relations militia guys guided by Iran and Iraq and by U.S. meddling needs Iranian relations take capacity to compromise security by an proxy framework for relation as a defense relation drawn down follow lower military presence offer non-military relation president declining for years Colombia and combat obviously drawn out for over a few years militias compromise growth relations that suffer from Iraq strengthen capacity of Iraq and diplomacy aid and Colombia County Iraqi increase leverage taking around away U.S. and attended economic management government hinders proactivity acting deployment terrorist U.S. terrorist U.S. is with a Iraq return, future where Iraq never letting Bush results in independent competing politics, not by troops, and otherwise clauses, inevitable staying clauses, also relationship with the Iraqi government, and encourage corruption, time and free the drawdown, discounts reduce development, nuclear staking, contingency withdrawal by the still diminish troops, and common duckies will keep indefinitely commitment, undermines Iraq's incentive to develop capability and right, encourages corruption, distribute as fail-safe corruption, undermine Iraq's force to give back to the Biden president, can resolve governance or accomplish your opposition if they stay, and extremism still on the secure on terror station from 20 to global proposals that are possibilities for new attack on the terrorist movement, emerging blood and first secure arms, and there's motivation, globalization, behind struggles, the identities, come up with the rockets attack with the African allies, and we are common Middle East and Nigeria, already came up with material, possible materials, stolen, accessible to the market already, hundreds of bombs vulnerable, and corruption turns rocket no fails, Dark 23, parties working with no low to Iraq, those interference, very chaos, there are those interference, secondary violence, define sources, civil war, to be government, and other issues, corruption, reduces the investment, growth of diminish, and will continue, and safety discussions, and the impact of the crisis, the risk of off on the team, we just said for which they would shock vulnerability, become part of the international structure, having systemic recauses, sustainable economic development for all states, the way to crack vulnerability, state policy for all states, and backbone of neutralizing vulnerability to deal with financial crisis, and environmental disaster, terror, trafficking, one state trouble, can spread throughout the globe, and is made into water security, trade 21, water interrupted, and conflict, recovery, closed, that are used in infrastructure, conflict, and minor water resources, when I have to go after the water, enabled and control population, mismanagement of Iraqi government, closed, difficult situation in Iraq, is difficult, and plastic change, unable to pay for the long for short time, and planning a major impact on Iraq's future, and both of the Iraq's take advantage of ability to add as there is the population of red conflicts not being ignored, and shortages fill out a strong rock security water, regional water security, UNECE 23, counter the providing water, rock population, with the threat and lives of the country beyond the freight tigers, crucial water source for Iran, Syria, and Turkey, the China water cooperation, continue importing as second by Iraq to water convention, opening up the provisions for the water, for environmental water government benefits fell beyond Iraq, other critical law and amnesty, and water shortage escalate, for 2021, MENA time for other droughts, and ability to water water, size, agri brain bed, reliance difficulty, food, operation, refugees, play pressure, Lebanon, Jordan, European countries, Turkey, refugees, each was the government, influence, pushing the solution of the wars from my US interests, and going to refugee water security, over to water, refugees, process the individual wars, nuclear, getting water, connected, out water, at least some people that call it normal problems, leaders have to go to Europe, US, Syria, probably proceeded to massively water, and withdrawal, normalized relations, probably regional, that side of the degree, in a relations, enforcement, and no animals, the program, US, withdrawal, program, 5 years, MSC, OCI, exercise, committee, their tolerance, committee, warnings, reports, and in our conflict withdrawal, these are withdrawal, and normalized US operations, the standard, is minimized the risk of communication, to cover future people, border risk, and the risk, both unfortunately, not possible to the users, both possible, not the latter, no matter beyond your relations, like, reduce risk, moral security agreement, among possible users, yes, strong reason, and information, presenting compassion, feel it all, and not having compassion, values, lower values, and turn their motivating for social values, quality values, and everything, as interfere, increase compassion, present, blood, people, voices, business, and other than not ministry, and culture value, motivated, support, compassion, and values.
Wait, were there any cards in the money so you didn't read?
I read everything in the 1AC.
Okay. The failed state stuff, I'm confused how you read uniqueness for this impact.
Sure, we see that in the status quo right now, Iraq is too reliant on the United States military presence, which sort of stops them from developing, building up their own military capabilities, etc.
This Darwish evidence says that Iraq is corrupt right now. Why does this mean that any of your impacts have an impact? Like, how does this not take out all of your impacts?
I'm confused. I don't think you understand the argument. We say that right now there is corruption. The plan allows us to get out of the region, which means that Iraq builds up their own military capabilities, solving for corruption, solving for...
Wait, like, that's what I'm asking. Where do you have that second part where it says that getting out of the region would reverse causally cause Iraq to certainly turn not corrupt, when your Darwish evidence says that the leaders themselves have no loyalty to Iraq, quote, end quote.
Simon 23, the last part under stability, like that Simon 23 says that a phase withdrawal would normalize relations. It would allow the Iraq to stop having dependency on the United States military forces, allow them to develop their own capabilities.
But how does that solve that the leaders just straight up aren't loyal to Iraq? What?
Because they're reliant on the United States military forces. Absent the U.S. military forces, they have no other option but to build up their own capabilities. The reason there's corruption is because they're too dependent on the United States and their military presence.
Okay, that's fine. The water shortages, why do they escalate in Iraq?
Sure, we say that there are important crucial water sources, the Euphrates and Tigris River. There's trans-boundary water cooperation, that's the UNECE 23 evidence. We see that becoming increasingly important. Iraq sort of is key for water security. If there's fragmented water governance that sort of spills over beyond Iraq, that's UNECE.
Okay, this Cherry 21 evidence is describing past instances of water security conflict. Why does not cause your impact?
Sure, we see that in like tensions are uniquely escalating right now. There's increased chances of water conflict. There are going to be nuclear. Sure, that's the cutting 24 evidence talks about how U.S. Iraqi nations are in crisis.
Which evidence?
Cutting the first part, understandably.
Wait, no, what does this have to do with water conflict?
That's the uniqueness, and we're saying that right now there's increased tensions in the region, which is making water conflicts more likely. They're guaranteed to go nuclear, like other past conflicts don't come, because this is a unique scenario. It's like more volatile. It's more likely to like go nuclear.
What does the water convention have to do with anything in your advantage? It says, quote, accession by Iraq to the water convention.
That just proves why shortage is going to spill out, i.e. like why Iraq is specifically key. That sort of proves the spillover.
Okay, this, water shortage, oh, no, sending
Sorry.
the order is, let me count. Oh wait, also, flex prep is the plan immediate.
You say it's a base withdrawal.
Okay. Is it the USFG or?
We depend on land tax.
I understand.
How much is that?
I took 40.
How much?
I took 40. Or, well, I guess that's never stopped coming, so how much ever you have? One, two, three, four, five, six. Is everyone good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Interpretation the further has been a substantial reduction in military personnel, meaning at least 50% CRS, substantial reduction in military installation, 50% of personnel shall be reached by violation of absolute far and 50 days, 23, 25 troops in Iran, there's 30k total, low past 23, oh actually it's 2,500 troops, fatal violation, 30k troops total, 30,000 in the Middle East, they get for those open floodgates, tiny emphasis left over, which reduced from the base kills, balance, spread, constitutional activity around, already into your constitution, future abuse, campaigning, intertreatability, by top 2, gender, vector, racial bond, which mark, vacation, or base, force, 1 is equal, all another comes to kill, so today, she encourages babies, to 1 is no purpose, to be abusive, 1 is skewed towards the app, 8, return of the 1 hour takes to collapse. B, the counter responsible. B, the 1 hour assistant intervention. Implication A, use readability can be legitimate check for abuse. B, doctor argument. Minimize the chance of grounds from side of early condoms. Good parts. Keep familiar with the app. To leverage multiple forms of prep. B, risk crossing no economies every part because of no risk. Next up, interpreting the improvements via the agency plan. Audit and meeting for our right to enter audit for the obligations like present and violation and the information to the ground. Arbitrarily like politics and the plan happens and we lose the lane. Counterplan otherwise will arbitrarily ignore person the resolution next day. Prep the grounds. We have to learn by the resolution crossed by standards. Counterplan. The United States Congress intention reduces appropriation of funds for military purposes in Iraq with practice to prevent state no military to be appropriate pursuant to military purposes in Iraq. Your executive branch, the United States Congress, preparing appropriation for funds suspended from military purposes in Iraq. Congress should then sue the executive branch violation appropriation of funds for military purposes in Iraq. Secretary of the United States should grant, since you already immediately hear the case and vote in favor of Congress, you might sure 18 Congress appropriate the funding executive branch executive funds are to be appropriated. Executive branch is funds pass your rankings also reading the violating laws to provide Congress making check against war making executive branch congressional restrictions of military 12 United States committees on land the military. First, your legislation took provisions for the executive power push back and limited authority to make executive works around it. It's also getting forced executive and president must change the court or which I would say the president was in violation president of a court order or more force political change the corporation for the reinvigorate congressional war powers who must change litigation should be burden so that the majority defend the or vindicate or distribution of power and more powers to manage the U.S. and military conflicts with commercial prove that cause great power competition escalates to go nuclear rewrite. For the improvement of this authorities before making some of the conscious balance of powers and expensive pressure for prerogative use for device actual engaging military operation authorized under to pursue whatever it was authorized in the project. Self-defense for transforming the actual engagement without actually pursuing specified targets tackling away the country. Never disclose lawful targets or warfare operations across great power competition military objectives were commonly information involving sources of the unauthorized data for Pennsylvania continuing price space for it is a federal government economy and determining access to free convention rather than the state of the U.S. and constitution of federal government. It means the act all three grounds, including the executive USA 13 years of federal government, that's the judicial executive. The United States Bar Donald Trump for running for president, Bar Joe Biden for running for president, Bar Robert Kennedy for running for president, for passing any additional authorizations for use of military force, repeating any existing AUMS and the plaintiff condo elections races clause and close economist 24 to Trump code and elect we so a public guarantee done for that for the Trump candidate balance the polling station and institute of support 2% header but as a proposed ahead post we have resignation support using the name of the now continuing service plan for second for community province for stating by decision to withdraw from the garrison confidence to be a war where a public will statement who rise with forces out to Republicans waiting on the country wants to go back when we get answer the decision pull out mark of the difference in life courage practice for mercy where it is the war for among the public like good to policy to 37% of public not support every stock patient government the economy public from China basis 29 for future provides blueprint protections policy including a break from China policy part from globalization from 20 factory tariff new trade restrictions are free decoupling a bigger rate which provide balance trade and limit trade deficit measures to control Chinese rise compared to decoupling Chinese rise options are limited and only disengagement of ways in which China was also 22 who are defined with the other economic engineering regional hegemony must not be the way we should size of resolutions here should increase military part to play so that the issue of class or other way would make suffer workers with accommodating for our parties to the risk of hospital competition, the team of hospital and work for us, we do exercise to go ahead and conventional forces targeting China conventional forces to nuclear arsenal Chinese that you can decide to do facility with consequence we have to hit. No more for our one tax and Iran would escalate to believe where the OS and the warranty is but look at World War II and no evidence of Pakistani government would be over then we go to the side with Iran let alone use that's one side hypothetical and their evidence even just through revolutions would not just seize new tons of external security device between Pakistan's base ones to Iranian works terrorism mutual was failure Pakistan to international and protecting weapons running this invasion faction multiple occasions. When the evidence that Russia China don't win all the insert to Russia China don't Carolina 24 with the laws of the Iran is not trying to Russian government to war on great Argentina control. It's a stand up so much from the Gulf States, Russian Israel versus the United States going on in the Ukraine war for the defense treaty to and it's second reason war to be on why Russia trying to suicide wars because they would because their allies were trying to actually skip that cyber wars and proxy attacks are nothing new. The Rwanda West Middle creating lots of non-hand nuclear wars, cyber attack were defeated throughout the Toronto operation in American army full-scale military replies, which full-scale U.S. military replies was outstripped Iran and firepower forces around the Republic U.S. Navy in the West. Iranian forces remain the Iraqi Pacific country, the ally Iranian competitive forces against the machine, thus they use until they can make themselves ahead. Hegemon and all talks on cause escalation case 15 low price of oil face less sensitive as a person what thinking the Russian trade all price are high so given this low price of shipping it continues to be very according to the lower prices from 1% behavior more reasons when they connect more prices are high so soon nuclear access to impossible to make bombs for the 20 years is one long term problem too much resources were moving from the danger of model weeks exploited the donor would not approve and donor would not approve and the Iran war tries to not release off the nuclear arms for escalation it's when we're 22 to the Tehran to go to the line here on to go to the 6 to go to the range to go to the monster so the Israel used wrong with the attack like initial facility tries to destroy delay efforts attack by the by user on things twice Tehran has been watching retaliation destroyed nuclear programs in comparison to nuclear armed Israel and already read that card strikes all to prevent regional instability prevent global energy costs straight Iran on the escalate to the US will have a strong response to 23 who's referencing no consequence attacks and ability to global energy and first basic consumption territory to use in the Philippine armies the benefits includes direct possible to launch take over deliverance including conflict stolen money from market plan possibly destroyed first house play in fact asset value precision charges to the measures broad war and energy work of global extinction threat player electric reporting global conflict war survival corporation every nation left at stake every research acquisition and national security the struggle to reach armed balance and have portion of arms to maintain strategic ability clarification uncertainty over our certain decisions of arbitrary time for ask for running target really have to draw saving having hard person to have considerable ability where take first hostility by Chinese and Russian aggression will be strikes not solving what escalates with Iran turning 24 differences that only work with the adversary cost behind how ways that need to execute turn to the influence of the cost of Iran or the nuclear missile program Second, moving active strike fear energy, and the water wars clear conflict. Local lady 69 water wars is the living conflict water repulsion to the vast resolve conflicts on water. Recognize properties rather than conflicts most common response to difficult water. Superman properties now the injuries. Rate of versus around maturity of conflict mechanisms and existential threat to the other card existential threat to the other. And around proliferating now the fueling quasi conflicts are in Iraq turns the after 23 triple product uranium around the religious Israel U.S. force Mars collapses with 90 concentrated fires. The U.S. is the October 17th shot down drones and have these enemy rebels attack vessels. Iran continue to convert into weapon grade materials in 2 weeks and turn on second tries to be 90% threshold. I credit 90% threshold.
Good for now.
Yeah.
Status of the counterclaims?
Monta?
Both of them?
Yeah.
The this counterclaim, you can explain this, like, if you're borrowing Trump and Biden from running for president, like, I'm confused of what the implication of the election status.
No, well, the argument, well, these are all like separate claims, and I specifically said during my speech that.
Okay, got it. The, like, rescissions counterclaim, I guess, why is this competitive?
Well, this is competitive for a few reasons. First of all, the United States is the federal government, the act includes 3 branches. The United States, the counterclaim does not include 3 branches.
The counterclaim the counterclaim uses the 3 branches, Congress, executive branch, and Supreme Court.
In what way?
Okay, that's fine. T substantial, what ground did you lose?
Supreme Court is not the other part of the counterclaim. What?
Okay, that's fine. T substantial, what ground did you lose?
Well, I didn't get competition for picks in these studios because I don't know how much the app actually spends. Like, if you defend a 50% or if you defend 100% withdrawal from a right, I have no idea what that means, and then I don't get dissats to that because it would just say we still need presence.
E-right evidence, can you explain the warrant here?
The e-right evidence, currently, yeah, this evidence says that when when executive war power exists, there's a higher likelihood for the executive to like kind of overtake congressional authority, especially in the context of like covert operations.
You say we like rescind funding for troops. How do we bring the troops back home?
How do we bring the troops back home?
Yeah.
The argument is that we would sue in violation of the appropriations clause, or is that the Congress would sue in violation of the appropriations clause.
Right, but you end funding related to military presence in Iraq. How do you fund bringing our military presence back home?
I mean, if you're able to explain how a suit that Congress makes that specifically checks executive war power in Iraq does not solve the troops that are there, then you can have that. But we've made an argument as to why it solves, and we've read 3 pieces of evidence that talk about how it solves.
Did you read Lewis knows everything?
Lewis? Yeah. Oh, no.
Then Sengel and Hayes, did you read those 2 years?
Single? I didn't read single, I read Hayes.
The like Iran war stuff, I guess, why do you strike self?
Few warrants. First of all, we say that currently they have no interest in diplomacy, which means that only a war with Iran through counterforce is able to fully devastate Iran. We've read evidence that the United States would have a devastating counterforce, specifically because Iran has barely any capabilities right now. It means that we're able to stop Iranian proliferation and we're able to restore U.S. deterrence worldwide. That's the Cronin evidence from Cronin is from 2024.
Sorry, Did you read Bothelini?
Sorry, which one?
Why Wars Welcome?
Yes. But I cut it at threat to the other.
T odd equals immediate rescission counterclaim, advantage counterclaim, elections system.
You said substantial, immediate rescissions, elections?
Yeah, K substantial, T odd, rescissions, advantage counterclaim, elections.
Is there one?
There is. I'll read it.
Yeah, I have it.
Lucy. On case of proceeding attacking this terror, their wrong miscalculated irrationality isolated wrong apart from news from representing Israel conflict conceded by nuclear war silver state Avery and the failed state scenario. They conceded this Iraqi failed state always succeeded in casting globally through the international structure which risk mitigating development as like Assad and war was that way they struggled with district worldwide till agricultural cloud by free up people that globally. That's win free the Lima line first the Lima line. Yes, there is a word for the Lima line the US, Russia, China do want to get involved. They have incentives in the region. They have incentives in the region, and Iran would draw them in absent. Even if there's no Russia, China involvement, there's still involvement from Pakistan, etc. They say Russia, China don't care. They do care. They have incentives. They have incentives in the region. Cyber attacks. They didn't read this, but Iran would escalate further because it has incentives in the region. They have incentives in the region. Increasing proxy conflict, killing of the PMF commander, etc. It means that there is conflict. Oil shocks. I didn't read oil shocks and supply shocks, which also continue to extend this. The water wars called conflict. No, it doesn't call conflict. Like, yes, water wars are obviously bad. They're war stuff. They say first strike window, zero events that happens, only that is good, and first strike fails, and triggers Carliners, Ron restarts the deterrence village, just all they're going to do. Strike the return, return to activity after attack, strike the Italians to build a bomb. The opportunities after the landing will be to tell US force report head of the rear guard and Iran second strike. As is both the words Iran already invested in new public humiliation called but commenting under pressure to react with behavior follows including put into evident information strike. Trade regime assessment of first by providing an unlimited deterrent future facility to incorporate complications for US conventional strike. US conventional strike this strike zone, no strike zone solve, energy wars global. Obviously, no, this is not true references too outdated. There's no more in these evidence, and obviously, our scenarios what conceded. There's a higher likelihood of happening. They should have energy wars should have already happened. DC counterforce, driven around with maintains radar shooting stability. They have no evidence that this is happening. They have no evidence this is happening right now. They say deterrence failed. The reason deterrence failed is because of military presence right now. Only the plan solved for deterrence. They are proliferating now. There's no impact to this. Jesus said so. We mean plans in the back of defending underlying lines of arbitrary destroy common education countermeasure we defended reduction below 50%, so the means considerable cost for the data means considerable value and non-like specific number will be sent in one situation may not be in another, and the definitions arbitrary potential is business in code 97. Neither statute nor legislative indicates how much reductions potential varies from code, and the data about further reduced our region they have zero as a basis top limit is zero as about 15% increases every 1 AC car cruiser Rocky presence this team. Big war controversy and educational debates evidence guys corrupt which always over limiting for singular plans and ensure skill debates and functional limits and generic check functional limits and generic check the TI counter after not that the immediate the plan equals should and does not not certain duration at 16 only these other orientated sources as well as the overall decision which should and does not command a obligation no more than recommendation on a mandate and they didn't lose any ground made a normal means claiming plans and backing the only way to prevent arbitrariness which is counterfeit. Further, the counterfeit last law no dangerous and current budget in which case and then benefit for conduct 16 State Department justification for funding was alarming president residents defend divide court Congress represent overly to an executive objecting to funding restrictions and finance through countries and donors and prove the counterfeit over military action and do the active counterfeit over military president in North Africa and this is good allows remain net benefits incentivizing top research tax legitimacy solves tax inserted and instant deficit counterfeit immediately reduces all present when it's bad. It's not a phase withdrawal which they conceded. It was conceded is good and they can't bring back troops because we rescind all funding related to we rescind all funding related to Iraq, so we can't bring the troops back and power the first fails. It doesn't affect the decision, it's illegally legally binding in 18. Appropriations are not legally binding. These give administration you has any fund and emergency money transfer authority has given executive power for actual permission from reprogramming by the part of reprogram the advantage counterclaim per due to the after the second to fifth place shields linked elections. Elections had no link comments of the claim binding complaint and Trump was now first young voters passed level 112. Trump now president young vote. Monta points to December recent poll under 35 Trump leads to December 30% of December week support Trump led Biden 49 to 40% shocking shift for 2026 large and shocking and distraction. Biden's unpopularity is high as ever. 113. Biden abysmal across the low is in denial of unpopularity situation worse than free fall among pro POC people voted blue and about majority people support Rocky withdrawal standing other 21 polls are Rocky for withdrawal with their favor being interest home from Rock continue to present as population to withdraw from Iraq.
I have are there any independent reasons for rectification? Have you read evidence that Congress does the app?
Show what?
Have you read evidence that Congress does the app?
No.
Elections case. No. Cool. Well, actually, it'll be like the T stuff, the counter plans, and then the elections decide. So,
What would refer to in the counter plans?
group the T shells, group the counter plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is everyone good? T not going for it, concede reasonability. Counterplans not going for it, kick condo, concede condo is good. Elections. The one error is gifted me in elections this ad because this ad was Trump good. You should read one and see evidence where the Economist 24 says that the race was closed. They've gifted me uniqueness that said that Trump has been winning. The Economist 24 evidence is very clear and explicit that Trump is winning the election now, and then we read evidence that says that the plan would flip that because it would cause a Biden win. The 423 evidence is clear. It says that, quote, it's hard to see Republicans winning on a campaign that Trump promised to go back. It explicitly says that the plan would gift the Democrats a win. We read evidence that Trump would solve Chinese conflict, which means that the impact is 100%. It turns and outweighs the case. You conceded that U.S.-China war goes nuclear, which outweighs on magnitude and time frame. China is most likely to engage in conflict over their own country instead of the Middle East, which also turns all of their internal links. That's why they would get drawn in, because if they're conceding an internal link that China would get involved in conflict with the U.S. over in Taiwan or even in the U.S. in any other regional theater, that's way more likely than the affirmative conflict in the Middle East. I'll also conclusively win defense on case. Second, it happens faster. The two links here. First, the perception of a plan means that Biden will instantly lose the election, which also means that the impact definitely happens by 2024. It also means that Trump would definitely solve, because the first thing that he would pass when he comes into office would be this economic decoupling with the Bait 629 evidence clearly describes. Independently, it turns all out internal links because it proves that economic disengagement from China is the only way to prevent conflict. The affirmative says that we should further engage with conflict and put more troops in the Middle East, or we should withdraw from the Middle East and allow China to fill in. But we said that the full disengagement and from China, including economic disengagement, is the only way to solve. Yeah, the 1 hour evidence, we can walk through it. The first evidence says that Trump is going to win, which I agree with. The second evidence says that Biden is unpopular now, which I also agree with. And then the link term that they read is 1NC evidence. It's evidence for the link for the 1NC. So it's really hard to vote affirmative here. The only argument that you could possibly vote on is no link. But Congress doesn't do the app, and it does not show the link. You've conceded that the United States federal government is 3 branches from the counterplan. I've also read evidence that 3 branches would be a part of the plan. You've not contested that on the counterplan page. Independently, it does not matter because Congress is still seen as action under Biden. Biden allows Congress to do things. Biden is seen as not vetoing the plan. All of these are things that happen under the United States federal government. The federal government is part of Biden. If you defended something that wasn't federal government action, then this would matter. But Congress doesn't shield the link. Case. Defense is conclusive on case. Their only argument in the 1 hour was, quote, they have incentives in the region. This argument makes most sense, and you flowed 0 warrants as to what incentives that Russia and China have in the region. I've re-highlighted their only terminals to their impact here. The 1EC war evidence says that Russia would try to curtail the fighting, and it says that Russia and China do not want to get involved. The second evidence they've conceded is that Russia and China explicitly do not care about the region. This is for 2 reasons. The Byron evidence says that there's oil diversification in the region, which means that they are no longer interested in oil markets that happen in the Middle East because they're way too diversified for Russia and China to have control over them, which means that there's just no interest in the region. The second warrant is that Russia and China do not want to risk getting in conflict with one another in the region, which also is conceded 1NC Byron. I also re-highlighted their 1NC Avery evidence, which the only argument that they make here is, quote, that Russia is allies, or that Pakistan is allies, or that China is allies, but they've conceded the evidence that even if there's a coup, revolutionaries can't strike. And also there's no evidence that the Pakistani government would be overthrown. You should go back and read their evidence if you're going to decide the debate on this, because their only evidence here is that the Pakistani government would get overthrown as a result of instability in the Middle East, and then that instability would then cause their impact. But there's no evidence that the Pakistani government would get overthrown, apart from a one sentence hypothetical that relies on a lot of other missing internal links. The second argument they've conceded is they say that we didn't read cyber war defense. We did. We read the 120 evidence, which is conclusive because it said that the U.S. and Iran have already waged many cyber wars in the past, which means that they haven't extended a region-wide tensions are really high now, which means that the 2 are really very spinny here. They say supply shocks, but this is also conclusive because I did read evidence, and also your internal link to supply shocks is oil shocks. You should go back and read the Damayanti 22 evidence from the 1AC. The last thing is the water war stuff, but you conceded an impact here that water wars are good because they quell conflict. The Rucaletti evidence says that water wars are specifically good because it means. Oh wait, how much time do I have left? Water wars are good because it means that regional allies are able to cooperate. It gives the example of the Indo-Pacific, of the Indus Water Treaty, in which there was explicit cooperation over the water conflict that happened between India and Pakistan, which is conclusive because it's also within the region. There was zero answers to this, which means that water wars are good. Conceded impact term outweighs because it means that it resolves all impacts and leads to better, resolves failed states because they're no longer in conflict. The failed state stuff is new implications in the 1AR. Their only argument here is that it's an impact filter for existential crises, which cannot be weighted in the 2AR. And I've also won, and time frame should outweigh probability because there's no reason, because if an impact is going to happen fast, we're also weighing that it probabilistically happens. And probability is just a question of the internal links and the strength of link, which I've already won because it's conceded. Strikes, don't matter, and they're not independent offense for them because I concede that strikes wouldn't happen in the status quo. The terror impact is nonsensical. I read evidence here, and also they would not have access to the bomb in the first place because we read evidence that they would explode the bombs before they even got access to them. They have to answer the warrant here. You should hang your hat on the election.
40 seconds back. Everyone good? Actually, no, it'll be just be days. Everyone good? On the case of Rocky Fields, they conceded this impact, they conceded this impact between the 1 and 2, which is that any 2 hours monthly should completely reject cascade globally throughout the international structure with friends, risk mitigating development as a solve, that outweighs versus on probability. It was a conceded impact, it was 100% impact, 100% probability. You'll concede that time frame outweighs this impact definitely happens first. Our argument is that corruption is happening right now because the Rock is too dependent on the United States military presence. But when we withdraw from the region, it means that the Rock builds up their military capabilities instantly because they're fearing that other countries will then be able to fill into the region. This obviously outweighs on time frame because elections take a month to happen at the end of the year, but our impact happens right now, which means that independently outweighs on time frame. Even if they're winning the dissent, I agree, I messed up on the dissent, but it doesn't matter because our impacts definitely outweigh on time frame. They didn't said that time frame comes first. Elections happen at the end of the year because even if they're right that Trump may be good or after his back, our impacts still happen first to prevent exit. Our impacts still happen first to prevent exit. I'll concede that time frame comes first. They conceded that it's an impact. They conceded that fail state is an impact. They conceded that fail state is an impact filter. That any other impact is secondary. That was a Stop 17 evidence. It talks about how weakness from your rock sort of spills over. Weakness from your rock spills over globally. Is an impact filter for existential risk that leads to things like disease, financial crisis, environmental disaster, terrorism, drug trafficking, etc. There's sort of spreads throughout the globe, which is that any other impact is secondary. Insofar as state weakness is an impact filter, state weakness is an impact filter. They concede. State weakness is an impact filter. They conceded this is not a new implication. This is not a new implication. This was in the 1AC, extended in the 1AR and in the 2AR. They just didn't understand this. They just didn't understand the scenario properly. They didn't understand the scenario properly. They also said the Iran war scenario. They also said the Iran war scenario about how it sort of leads to drawing of irrationality escalating because Iran apart, Russia, China gets drawn in against each other, causing nuclear war. Even if they're winning that Russia and China don't have incentives in the region, they still drop that Pakistan does have incentives in the region because Middle East war would destabilize Pakistan. They would side with Iran and introduce their nuclear weapons. It would still cause drawing with other countries. There are other incentives for Russia and China to draw into this war. There's a war with cyber operations, terror, bombs, etc. Always threaten China and Russian interests, either or China and Russian interest in the region. The last thing you have to answer is sort of this turn on the water war scenario. Obviously, this is not true. Our evidence cites water conflicts in the past, which didn't water conflicts in the past, which didn't lead to more stability, less than instability. And our evidence is very clear about how there's going to be more instability that makes this conflict go nuclear. Look, you have to go up in time. You have to go up in time frame. Even if you're winning 100% versus that, it happens at the end of the year. But we're winning at our scenarios are happening right now. They have not contested the internal link level and the link level of our scenarios, which is that any risk of our scenario happening first is sufficient to affirm. We are winning our scenarios happening. We are winning that our scenario is going to happen first because there is corruption right now. But as soon as the United States withdraws, they immediately stop being a corruption. They sort of rebuild the state and stop being a failure.